G'day, welcome to Curler's Corner. If it's your first time here, welcome aboard. If you've been here before, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through the process that I took to install these two aquaponic grow beds. Also going to run you through a little bit about the bell siphons and the plumbing side of these. So yeah, if you're interested in that, stick around and we'll talk through it. The first thing I have to do before getting started with it though is I've got the fish tanks getting set up inside the shed and the grow beds outside, so I had to install this little door in between the two. But yeah, now that we've got that done, I'll skip back to a couple of weeks back when we had a blank canvas, and we'll see you on the other side. Cheers. Righto, doors in. What I'm going to do now is I've built a frame to go up over the sump. It's going to go up over here, so I'll bring that frame in. I'll push the sump in, and then we'll get some grow beds in. We'll get into it. Now I've made it a pretty tight fit, so I may need to lift that frame up to get this in. But once it's in, she won't be moving. It's almost as though it was made for it. How good's that? Alrighty, we'll get some grow beds on. Now that I've got this far, I might get this sump filled up with water. I'm just going to use some dam water. I'm going to fill the sump up to start with, and then get that sand filter, plumb it up to the sump, pump it out of the sump, back into the sand filter and back in, just try and clear it out a bit. We might go for a run down there now, go and get the pump going and fill this tank up. Righto, down the dam. I am joining you from the future. I'm not sure if you might have seen my last video all about the saga that happened down here. Firstly, the petrol pump died, and then yeah, had quite a few issues and stuff getting this setup going that I've got now. This is working really well at the moment. So essentially I've got a battery hooked up to the solar panels, an inverter, and then this 240 volt pump. So this is an off-grid system to get water from the dam up to the aquaponics. If you want to check this out, go and check out the other video on my channel. If you're interested in any of this sort of 12 volt off-griddy sort of homesteading self-sufficiency stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. At the same time as I was sort of filming this video, I also installed a sand filter up the top, which is not going to, I'm not going to have time to put in the grow bed video, so I may put that up at some stage, I may not. Let me know if you want to see that, and that'll sort of spur me on to actually finishing that video. And then after the sand filter, I also installed a little mesh cage on top of the frame that sits on top of the sump and under the grow beds. So if there's any references in this grow bed video to any of that stuff, that's where it comes from. Again, apologies for not including more in this grow bed video, but it's just going to take way too long. I had it down to about an hour, and I thought, nah, that's no one's going to sit through an hour. So yeah, if you want to check out any of that stuff, or if you want to see anything that I haven't put up yet, drop a comment or subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on it. For now, I'll get this going, and I'll see you back up top. All right, well, we've got that mesh on. That water's still pretty murky. It's been about an hour and a half. It's just gone 20 past 1. Not too concerned, to be honest. I've got a lot of other stuff to get done, and yeah, I wasn't too sure how long it would take. I'm just hoping it does clear up. Otherwise, yeah, we'll have to figure out something else. Although, just thinking now anyway, I've still got to set up a siphon on that other bed. I might do that now. I'll pull this siphon out just so I can show you guys how it's all been put together, and also sort of refresh my memory on what sizes of pipe and stuff I used, and then we'll build another one pretty much the same. The other bed is a little bit lower. I think this one's about 400 high, the other one's about 200, so it'll be a little bit smaller, but other than that, it'll be pretty much a carbon copy. Alrighty, so just come back into the shed. This is the bell siphon out of the bed that we've just taken out of there. So I'll pull it apart quickly. I have also, I've already got some pieces here organised to build the next one, just in the interest of time. But I might even put a list up that you guys can pause on if you'd like to make up the same as this. So there's basically, as we mentioned outside, there's 3 different parts. You've got your shroud, which is like that. So in this case, I've got the shroud made out of 90mm stormwater pipe. So the shroud itself is 90mm stormwater pipe and two 90mm caps. So just those fellas there. If you go to the big green shed, you get this stuff in 1 metre lengths. So 1 metre of this would do 2, 3, maybe 4 grow beds, depending on how high they are. So, you know, you can start out with 1 metre length and 2 caps per grow bed. Then the next section is the bell itself. So that's 65mm stormwater pipe and 165mm cap. Our local supply shop don't do 65, they've only got 50. So I've just got, in terms of the caps and stuff, so I've just got a 50mm cap just for this example. We'll see if it's going to work or not. I'm not too sure if we're going to get enough flow out. But in terms of the list, yeah, 65mm seems to be a pretty good size for, again, get it in a length, 1 metre length, and 1 65mm cap per grow bed. For the standpipe itself, I'll run through. We've got 3/4 pipe, and then I've got 3/4 to inch, and then also I've got inch to inch and a half as a bushing, just to get that size. So got those 2 fittings there. And then down the other end, I've got a 3/4 to inch bushing, which then goes into a 1 inch pipe to BSP, or your threaded pipe. And then I've got a 1 inch bulkhead fitting. So it is important with these, they're going to sit up like that. It's important obviously to have, as I mentioned outside, to have a larger surface area up top, and you want to have a fairly small throat. And then at the other end, before it goes out of the grow bed, you want to make sure there's no further restrictions on it. So hence why I've got it going from 40mm up top down to 20mm, or from 1.5 inches down to 3/4 inch. And then down the bottom, I want no restrictions from here. So I've got it going from that 3/4 up to inch, or that 20mm up to 25mm to get the water out without. And yeah, you want to make sure you got air coming back up as well to be able to cut the siphon off. So that's pretty much it. All right, so I'm just going to measure where I'm going to want the top of, not the media, but where I'm going to want the top of that siphon to go, or the top of the nutrient level, which is going to be, I'm going to say probably 2 inches below the top of the bed itself. That's going to mean that not the length of pipe, but the length from the top to the bottom of the bulkhead. So you can see I've got this much room that I need to take into account, as well as this much room at the top. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this reducing bushing down, so I can sit that one there on, and then I'm going to cut this one here as well, because I want it to be almost flat. As you can see, it's a bit messy, that one. But yeah, I want it to be almost flat, so I'll do that now. I'll chuck my safety glasses on and get the grinder out. And for cutting any of this stuff, you could use a hacksaw. Hacksaw is probably arguably a better choice for cutting this stuff anyway. Just less likely to you know, send that plastic dust and stuff in the air getting into your lungs, which is probably not ideal. Just get a little bit of a clean up, and that should sit on there like that. So I'm going to need to get a little bit of this stuff, just the PVC cement. If you have got a tight fitting, which, you know, these ones don't quite fit that tight, but if you have got a tight fit, then there's not really much need to go through and glue these on. It's not gonna move on there. But for the case of this one, I'll do that in a minute. So that's the top of it. The bottom, I've already glued these 2 pieces in together, which is just that 3/4 reducing bushing into the 1 inch pipe. And that is going to go in the end of our bulkhead like that. So I'll screw that in all the way. And now the bottom of the bed is going to be from the bottom of that gasket up to the top of this fitting here, so however long that is. and we want it to be 150. I'll get the tape out. So when I measured that up, that eye in the pipe comes up to about the bottom of this section here. So it'll be probably a little bit long, but I'd rather a little bit long than a little bit short. I can always cut a bit more off it. We should be pretty close here, I reckon. Same again, that's a pretty tight fit in there. And this top one here is a pretty tight fit as well, so I'm not going to worry about cementing those in. Now, for the next bit, which is going to be the bell, I'm going to now measure from the top of our bulkhead, and I've got, it's about 148, so I'm going to make this 160 and then put the cap on, so it'll give it a bit of room to be able to let all that water and air get in through the top of it. And just get your 50 mil in this case, or otherwise 65 mil cap. Find the straightest edge, which I'll put at the bottom, and put that on there. This does need to be a tight seal. That is pretty good. I think it's going to be airtight. Otherwise, if you know, for the permanent one anyway, I'm not too sure if I'm going to use this one. If I was doing it with 65 mil, then I would glue that cap on. I probably should do it with this one as well. So yeah, glue that cap on there, and then at the bottom of it, you need to make sure that water can get in through the bottom. So I'm just going to do pretty much the same as this. Leave 3 little legs on there. We'll get those cut. All right, so that will sit over the top of there like that, and that's essentially it. The only reason why you do the next part is to make a shroud that goes over the top, and yeah, just sort of holds it all together. I'll clean this here up. All right, instead of going there like that, I am going to glue that one. So for these, you want the bottom one glued on, or you can see this one here, I use some just some stainless steel screws, either glued or screwed, but it's not going to move, so I'm pretty happy to glue it on. The last build that I did was in a rental courtyard, essentially, is where what we had to work with. So yeah, I had everything pretty much screwed together in case I wanted to pull it apart. But now that this is our place, I'm pretty happy to, you know, put some permanent fixtures in. To measure this one here up, it's the same as the first part. So this is going to fit right over that bulkhead, and it's actually going to have that extra mil or 2 in that end cap. So we'll measure up, and this one, you really need it to be above the height of your media. It's not so much about your water level or your nutrient level, it's about your media level. So that bed's 200 mil, and I'm not going to sort of limit myself to having that media below that. I'm just going to make this about 250, and then there'll be plenty of room. So then we have our shroud. So because I've glued that bit there, that's going to be on the bottom, like so. I need to now drill a hole with a hole saw, which is going to be big enough to fit that bulkhead through. So I've got some hole saws here. So I'm going to bore that through that bottom end cap, and then the other thing that I need to do with this top end cap is just cut these little slits off just so it slides on there without sort of getting jammed on. So same again, I'm just going to do just a couple of rough cuts and then cut the difference. All right, so that's that, and that should just go there nice and easy. So you can take it off without it, you know, without having to get a hammer out or something like that to be able to jam it out. So there's that. As I mentioned, all I've got to do now is bore a hole in the bottom for that bulkhead to go through, and we can put it all together. Alrighty, so I've got our hole saw ready to go, and I've got that shroud. I've got the top plate up that end. I'm going to make sure it's at the bottom for now while I drill this this hole, and then I'm just going to find the center of that quickly just by chucking a couple of lines and see where they meet. That's pretty right. All right. Now I'm not super concerned about having that right in the middle, just because that hole saw is a little bit oversized. And now we can assemble it. So to assemble the bell siphon, just going to take the bottom of that bulkhead off, And inside this shroud, it doesn't need to be sealed, so I'm going to take off the those gaskets and then put our bulkhead with the standpipe in through the shroud, like so. And now this is where the grow bed's going to go, so that's going to go in the grow bed like that. So I'm going to put a gasket in there, and then we'll take the other side and put it in the grow bed. So the first steps first, I need to get our standpipe. The standpipe doesn't need to seal on the inside of our shroud. It doesn't matter if it gets, like, you know, it's obviously got these holes in there anyway, so it's going to get water in. Doesn't matter if it gets any water in through the bottom, so I'm not going to worry about the gasket on the standpipe yet. Put that in through the guts, and then now we're going to have the bottom face of that shroud sitting on the grow bed, and that's where we need the main seal. So I'm going to put a gasket on there and holding onto the standpipe on the inside, stick it through, and then put the gasket on the other side of that standpipe, or on the other side of that bulkhead fitting. So now that's done, I'm going to put our bell on the top. I will say though that it's going to be a bit of a pain to get it out. You would have seen on the other one I've got a couple of cable ties on it just to make a handle. You can't drill anything into this because this needs to have a really good seal on it. So I might do that. I'll go get a cable tie around the outside and then put 2 cable ties on it just so I can grab it out nice and easily. And we are done. It's going to go in there like that. And then our lid just going to sit on the top. It's easy as that. All right. For the media, what I've decided to do, because I've probably got about 200 litres of hydroton, although I don't really want to use it all in one bed, and I might even try and save a bit for the next couple of beds. So I want to fill this up and put another 2 beds on. So what I'm going to do is I've also got a couple of 100 litres of blue metal from the last project. So I'm going to fill these up probably about 3/4 the way with blue metal, and then I'll just top them off with the hydroton. Just makes it a little bit easier for your hands to work with. Alrighty, bit of a strange angle, but that's what we get. Before I chuck any water up in these grow beds, I need to plumb up the drain. For now, this one here's plumbed up, the other one's plumbed up. The other one hasn't got quite enough meter in it yet, so I'm not going to worry about filling it yet. But for this one here, I'll show you how I'm going to plumb up the pump to fill her up. Alrighty, so for the pump that we're going to use, it is again a pump that I've used before. I would recommend these. This is a Jabeo DCP 10,000. I'll put some of the specs and stuff up and a bit of a spec sheet on over the top. This thing is 10,000 litres an hour. It's going to be overkill for what we're going to do for these grow beds. I'll probably end up plumbing this in to the fish tanks. Alrighty, so I've got that pump sitting in there. I might put this coupling on while I can get to it. I'm just going to sort of rush over this stuff in this video. If you guys are wanting to learn a bit more about pumps and head heights and flow rates and stuff like that, I'm more than happy to do another video on it, and I can sort of run you through the pumps that I have used and what I've got, and same as the you know, regulating the flow and that sort of thing as well. Just let me know in the comments if there's anything that I have gone through either now or earlier on in this video or in another video. Let me know if I can touch on something in a bit more detail, and give me a better idea of what you guys are wanting to see, and yeah, what else I can do to help you get started. Righto, I don't think the sun will give you too much drama there. It's sort of up to the side, but I would have preferred you on this side. Anyway, it's the way it is. As you can see, that 3/4 hose has plenty of flow on it. You can probably get away with 1/2 inch if that's what you had around. One of the beautiful things about doing aquaponics like this is that really you can use what you've got available. If you've got a greenhouse or something like that and you've used plumbing for that, and you're sort of familiar with whatever size it is, then go with that. Yeah, I've mostly got 3/4 inch and 1.25 inch, as I was sort of saying before, and then all the PVC stuff that I've got is generally 1.5 inch, and you can just sort of make it work in with what you got. So we'll wait for this here to fill up. You should be able to start to see the water level on that IBC. We'll give it a quick little bit of a time. It's about 340 at the moment. We'll wait for that to fill up, and when it does get a bit closer, I'll bring you into that siphon and show you what's going on there. Righto, we're getting pretty close there now. What I'm going to do, I'll bring you over and have a look at the inside of this siphon. So inside here, I'm going to take the bell out. You can see we're still a little way off the top of that standpipe yet. When it does start flowing in, I'll put that bell back over. I just want to be able to show you guys what it's going to look like without it to start with. And as it gets a tiny bit higher, you'll see that the neck of that standpipe actually sort of choke off a bit, and that's what's going to initiate that siphon. I'm going to put that bell back on, and we'll see if we can get it to go. Make sure it's all the way down, and bang, just then. So I could hear the water draining into the tank change pitch. I'll take that out and do that again, and you'll be able to see. So that was full of water, there was no air in there. I'll put the camera underneath and show you the outlet. So at the moment, that bell's not on. It's just starting to overflow through the top of that standpipe. I'm putting the bell on now. So you can see there's still a little bit of water flow, and you'll be able to see the difference when the siphon actually initiates. It's going to pick up quite a bit of speed. So it hasn't quite happened, and there it is now. So I've done nothing else except for just let the water do its thing. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to let that drain out. While it's been filling up, I've been getting the plumbing disconnected from that sand filter. So I'm going to let it drain out, turn the pump off, hook the sand filter up to where that regulator was, and then I'm going to cut down the standpipe and bell for this one, just to drop that water level down a bit, and I'll be back. Righto, so I have made a couple of changes. You can see this bit of plumbing here, I've just changed up. I ended up putting in a 40 mil U-tube. Just got these fittings that you can sort of twist off and twist on without having to take apart too much of the other fittings and stuff. So yeah, just for changing things makes it a bit easier. I've put that reg onto the inlet to the sand filter, just so that I've got everything running off one pump at the moment, and that saves that second pump for the aquaculture system inside the shed. I've cut down that bell siphon a little bit, taken about 2 inches off the standpipe and about an inch and a half off the bell itself. It is important to cut the bell down to the right size as well. If you leave it too high, then you need too much flow to be able to initiate that siphon, and if you have too much flow, then it might not disengage when it gets emptied down the bottom. So I think we've got that set up pretty well now. Another thing I was going to touch on with that is you'll see now the water level is about to come up above the media. I'm going to put some of that hydroton in, so that will be above the water level in a minute. But when I'm testing out this bell siphon and trying to tune it, it is going to be different with media in there than without. So I can get it sort of pretty ballpark for now, but you'll notice, especially if I had this bed empty and I was trying to tune the siphon, it just wouldn't work. Right, so I can hear that just going over the top of that standpipe now. There's a few little bits of water coming through, so I'm just going to put a little bit more where I can see the water. Actually, what I'm going to do, if I take that bell off, it won't be able to initiate the siphon, and it's just going to keep this bed at the full level. So I'll take that bell off for now, and that way I can set the height of all this hydroton. If you're in or around Wagga, or within 100 k's or so, and looking to get into aquaponics and been struggling to find any of this hydroton, let me know. Just drop a comment. I'm thinking about doing a bulk order because I've got at least another 4, but probably another 6 or 10 beds to put in. And I'll be looking for quite a bit of this stuff. So if you're in the same boat, I'd be more than happy to put a bulk order in and save ourselves a bit on freight. I'm also thinking at a later date, if you might be watching this video in 12 months from now, I am thinking about maybe I might start up a little bit of an aquaponic supply store as well, and this will be one of the main sort of products that I'll be trying to stock. It is quite difficult to get around here. I think the last time I got mine out of southeast Queensland seems to be the main place to go. Otherwise, maybe Sydney or Melbourne. But anyway, if you're interested in getting some, let me know and we'll see if we can figure it out. Righto, so I can't really see any water. Definitely not enough to make any of this stuff float anyway, so I'm pretty happy with that. And also I've had this year sort of fuller than it's ever going to be having that bell off. So I'll chuck the bell back on, we'll let that siphon out and see if we can find some plants to put in here. Righto, so it's come time to plant our seedlings. I've got one willing helper. You happy, mate? Happy to be here?
Yeah.
Yeah, ready to plant some plants, put some tomatoes in?
Yeah.
Sounds good. I've only got this bed set up for now. I've still got to put some media in the other one. I'm going to save the strawberries and any other sort of really kid-friendly stuff for the other one because it's a bit easier to climb up there on the cage for the other one, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one here, a few more climbing things like the tomatoes and stuff are going to go in here. I've got our little cleaning station set up. So there's one thing with these store-bought seedlings that you need to keep in mind is that you don't really know what the media is. It looks like it's just big coconut coir, not too bad, but if they've got perlite and vermiculite and stuff, you don't really want that getting into your aquaponic water. And same as hydro, you don't really want to get any other media than what you're using in your hydroponic nutrient. So what we got here is a nice little clean-up station. Got it set up so that the kiddo can reach. You can reach that, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can reach that pretty good. So we'll take that out of there. We might do this tomato now, mate. Do you want to do that one?
What one?
This one here.
One?
Yep.
Yeah.
So get him nice and gently. I might get him out for you. There you go.
Getting all the dirt. Oh
That's all right, mate. We don't need the dirt. So drop him in that bucket. Maybe I'll hold him for a sec. You roll your sleeves up.
Okay. Actually pretty hot.
You're pretty hot? All right, no worries. So get him like that. Give him a little swish around, nice and gentle, because you don't want to wreck it. You just want to get the dirt off. You don't want to wreck the roots.
Is that enough?
Mate, that looks absolutely spot on. So, do you reckon?
Not cold.
Not that cold? I reckon the best place for that one, hang on a sec. The best place for that one's going to be right next to his mate over there. So, do you reckon you might be able to climb on the next step, climb in there, and chuck him in there for us?
Can I stand in there?
Yeah, you'll be right, bro.
Oh,
Even crawl in there if you like. You might not be able to stand because you're going to knock your nogs.
what the?
You'll be right.
Lucky you're not doing it.
So just go like that, over there somewhere.
You'll struggle.
Oh, mate, I would struggle. I'd struggle so hard. Needs to go a little bit deeper than that, bud. Dig down, dig down, dig down till you get to the black stuff.
Dad, I literally
In like
got
Flynn.
that stuff in my foot.
Oh, what? There you go, rip that back on. Rip that back on.
That was not comfortable.
Oh, I don't reckon it would have been. All right, I might shift this camera so that we can see again a little better. Righto, so I've got all these planted out, or got these two planted out anyway. Got all the media and stuff in them. This one down here for the kids, I've got some tomatoes, got some silver beet and some strawberries. That's about all that kiddo wanted to put in there. Speaking of, I may have lost some enthusiasm out of him, but I've found another one to keep me company on this part of the video. In this one here, I've got some beans and peas around the outside. I did throw a couple of corn seeds in there as well. I thought it might be a little bit too cold, but two of them have sprung up, so we'll see how they go. I have done corn in aquaponics before and they didn't go too bad. Anyway, I digress. I've also got some Thai basil and a few other tomatoes and a couple other nightshades, like some capsicums and eggplants. We'll see how they go. I'm not too concerned at this stage about the veggies. The main reason why I wanted to get this done first is more to cycle that media and get that nitrogen cycle going, just that it's ready for when I do finish up inside and get those fish going. If you want to see that video or any other videos that I've got about the aquaponics down here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and yeah, check out the aquaponic playlist. Also, if you're interested in sort of homesteading or self-sufficiency or any of that sort of stuff, yeah, you know, including the last video that I did about the solar water pump down the dam and yeah, any other sort of stuff like that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button and let me know what you'd like to see. More than happy to sort of cater my content to what you guys are wanting to look at. So yeah, if there's anything you think I've missed or glazed over, drop a comment down in the comments and I'll get back to you. Alrighty, for now, thanks again for joining me and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.